This is how I'm starting this week. You know, and just and your team wins 6-2 and that you can start how you want. But listen, guys, welcome back to another episode of Don't Shoot the Messenger. This is episode 10. I told you there was going to be a special for episode 10. Production, where's the special? Production, where's the special? Hey, people, ask production, where's the special? But listen, episode 10, it's, to be honest, man, like we've been here basically every week, man. So I hope you guys appreciate the consistency. And when we're at episode 100 soon, we'll be there soon. Keep going, keep getting the views up. And yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying the content. But today, let's get into it. This week, there's been a lot of talk, because I'm not too sure if anyone watched Stoppage Time. We had Pound Sterling on there, big him up. He jumped onto the show and he was talking about systems and B teams and A teams and all this type of stuff. But one thing that he spoke about was the system of Liverpool. And that just made me think, everyone started talking. It started becoming a thing this week about managers, how important managers are and the greatness of managers. Where does this manager rank? Where does this manager... All of this talk about managers. And so I thought, why not? Let's just talk about a few managers, about the greatness of some managers. So we'll start with Jurgen Klopp. The talk about Jurgen Klopp was how good his system is, what the job that he's done at Liverpool and the job that he's done so far in his career in terms of winning titles with Dortmund, winning the titles with Liverpool, obviously winning the Champions League. So obviously the natural discussion ends up being, where's he rank? Is he better than Pep? Is he better than Jose? All of this type of conversations. And I don't think, for me, I think Klopp is way up there. At the moment, he's the best manager for me in the world. As in, like, an actual manager, if I could take him if you can take one manager from any team and put him at a blank team, I think it'll be Jurgen Klopp is who I would take. So I do think he's a better manager than Pep Guardiola now. Do I think he's a better manager in the course of his career? I think it's early to say. I think Pep's still got he's got more accolades in him. Obviously, he's got 2 Champions Leagues. He's won ridiculous amount at Barcelona, won at Bayern Munich, and obviously he's won at Manchester City. So the thing that people do talk about is the way that Klopp has come through and kind of toppled Pep. And I agree with that. In a way, you look at what Klopp had to come and work with, and the way that he's worked his business, the way that he's the players that he's brought in, the recruitment, letting people go, let Coutinho go and reinvested that money better than I've seen any club reinvest money before. So you've got to give him the credit in regards to that. And of course, it looks like, it doesn't look like it, but it feels that Liverpool will go on again and win the league. They won 7-0 against Palace, and it feels that they're going to go on and do it again. And I remember I was talking to someone, I think it was production actually, we were talking about back-to-backs. And we're talking about what back-to-back will be the best. And what's great about the back-to-back is that you look at the managers that have done back-to-back in the Premier League: Fergie, Jose, Klopp and Pep. Well, actually, sorry, Klopp has not done a back-to-back yet. If he does the back-to-back, it will only be those 4 managers that would have done a back-to-back. And those are elite managers. It shows if you're going to do a back-to-back of the Premier League, you have to be an elite coach. Pep, Jose and Fergie, depends if you want to put Papa Wenger in there, but they are probably the 3 best managers in the Premier League that have come to the Premier League. You know, I still got some nice little heart and loyalty towards Wenger, because you guys know me, man. I love what football was about them days, but it depends what you guys see as a great job. Getting Arsenal into the Champions League every season, did you guys see that as a good job? It depends. But Fergie, Wenger and Pep Guardiola, in terms of coming in and dominating out of a period, they are the 3 best managers who have done it. So if Jurgen Klopp goes and wins the double this year, he has joined an elite category. Not the double, the back-to-back. He's joined an elite category. But the question that we were speaking with production was, if Liverpool win the Premier League this season, is it the best back-to-back that's ever been done? Because you look at last season, they dominated it. Absolutely walked away with the league. That's fine. They dominated. That's their first one. If they win it this season, after the complications with COVID, the no fans, they obviously had no fans after lockdown, but the title was pretty much already wrapped up at that point. But you look at it now, no fans. Players are playing maximum games in short spaces. all of these factors that come in, other clubs didn't have. Of course, United's great team, City great team, Chelsea's great team. They never had this factor. So for you guys, that's a question for you guys. Is if Liverpool do the back-to-back this year, is it the greatest back-to-back of all time? For me, I will give my opinion on that. I think I wouldn't say it is, personally. For me, I think the best back-to-back, people might say it's biased, but I do think it's Manchester United's back-to-back in 07 and 08 to 08, 09. And the reason why I'll tell people I think that's the best one is because, of course, when we went to go win it, of course, we also won the Champions League in 07, 08, of course. But then 08, 09, obviously, Liverpool pushed us to the very end and we ended up winning the league. But it's not only just because of that. It's because of the quality of the teams that were pressing for the title. In 06, 07, I'm going to give a little breakdown. In 06, 07, the Champions League semi-final was Man United versus AC Milan, Liverpool versus Chelsea. 07, 08, Manchester United and Chelsea Champions League final. 08, 09, I believe Manchester United and Arsenal semi-final, Chelsea and Barcelona semi-final, and then it ended up being a situation where Barcelona won it. Somebody clarify that for me, but I believe that was the Champions League semi-final where Ronaldo scored that free kick against Almunia. English football was at its absolute peak of dominance at that point. Absolute peak of its dominance at that point. I had 3 finalists in 3 years at that point. I feel like those teams of that era, I'm not talking about the rest of the league. I'm just talking about the teams that were going for the title. Chelsea were class. Arsenal class. Liverpool class. And obviously Manchester United. And when you look at the rank, like if you were to rank those teams in that era, in that point, I would probably say English football probably had 4 of the top 8, top 9 teams in the world at that point. All going for the title. And for United to do back-to-back, well, they actually did a 3-peat in that era. So that's what makes it even more impressive. But I'm just talking about the 07, 08, 08, 09 back-to-back, I think is the most impressive. But then you've also got Manchester City's, the 100 points. Then you get a historically great Liverpool team come with 98 points or 97 points. And City had to get 98 to win it. So again, that's another back-to-back, which I think is so impressive. I think that team that won the second title for Manchester City is pretty... People talk about the Centurions, but that team actually had a real rival in Liverpool. Pushed them to the very end and literally had to be near perfect again for 2 seasons to win the league. So again, I hold that one very, very high. And that's not to take anything away from this Liverpool team. This Liverpool team are fantastic. And this Liverpool team, if they do go and do the double, they back-to-back, they have done something amazing. But I do look at the rest of the teams, the Man Cities, they're not the same. United, not ready. Arsenal, let's not even talk about them. Chelsea, Spurs, Leicester. I don't think these teams are at Liverpool's level. I think when you look at the United back-to-back, you had teams that were at United's level. I think when you look at City's back-to-back, you had teams that are at City's level. Obviously, Chelsea's back-to-back was fantastic because I feel like that was the first time a team just come in and said, you know what? We are going to give you absolutely no opportunity to even think about winning the title. We're just going to clap it. And that was probably the start of a very dominant team in terms of we're going to rack up so many points. We're going to just dominate this league. So that is really impressive what Chelsea done. But at the same time, I do think Chelsea came at a point where Manchester United were rebuilding, let go of a few players, building through the young core with Rooney and Ronaldo. So I do think that Chelsea capitalized on a great moment in the league for them. So that is why I'll probably have theirs below Manchester City's and below Manchester United's. We'll see if Liverpool do the back-to-back to be able to
Chelsea overtake the Invincibles.
The Invincible, but that second season, I don't think Arsenal were that great. But they did. That's not anything to take away from them. That's their first title. But the second title was the 05-06, right? United weren't ready. Vieira had left Arsenal. Like, I think it was a real... What can I say? I wouldn't say a transition period, but United were the team that were really going to come and try and take out Chelsea, which we did in 06, 07. But they were United as we're not ready as challengers, in my opinion. But Chelsea did fantastic. I just think City and United's are probably a bit better, in my opinion. But anyway, so you guys, I need that answer. What would be the best back-to-back in Premier League history? I know some people might talk about when United did the treble and they went and won the league and stuff like that after that. But I still think that this one, 07, 08, 07 to 09, United, City 17 to 19, I believe it is there, 17 to 19, and you can talk about Liverpool's that come up, and obviously Chelsea 04 to 06 or 05 to 04 to 06. But this again, it led to people talking about, oh, who's the better manager, Klopp or Pep? Who's going to have a better legacy? And to be perfectly honest with you, it's very interesting. Everyone has their down period. We must not get too carried away. Pep Guardiola's having his down moment. That's fine. Klopp is having his resurgence. But just 2 seasons ago, we were talking about Pep as in people were trying to say, is he one of the greatest of all time? The difference is when Pep Guardiola, I do agree that Klopp can probably work with lesser players, lesser talents, and make them better players. I do think that Pep needs a very, very talented crop to get what he wants out of them compared to Klopp. Klopp is very Fergie-like in a way where he can get workmen performing to the highest of their ability. He can get players that people might deem, oh, if they go to this team, that team, they'll be average. But he manages to make them amazing. I do think Klopp has that factor right now, but you got to remember that Pep has been basically playing the same football in the same way from the way he's come, from the day he stepped into the league. There's going to be points in every manager's career where they're going to need to sit back and reevaluate what they're doing, reevaluate their transfer strategy, reevaluate the way they coach, everything. And that might just be the point that Pep is at now. And I'm happy that he signed a new deal because that means he still wants to take on Klopp. He still wants to see where it is, but it's not a good look, maybe. Ferguson, as I just said, he had a transition period. Ferguson had to sit back at one point and just let Jose do his thing while he plots. And he came back. So let's see if Pep Guardiola has that in him. The reason why we can't talk about it is because we've never seen Pep Guardiola go down and come back. When Real Madrid came, won the title, Pep Guardiola got up out of there. Bayern Munich, I mean, is there even a point in discussing? He was never going to get challenged out there. City, so now this is his first period. He's sticking by and let's see what he can do. And that's why I always say, this is why I always say, like, people talk about who's the GOAT and who's this and who's that. And this is why I always say Alex Ferguson is the GOAT. Because Alex Ferguson saw and conquered, basically. Alex Ferguson came in 1986, 1987. Man United hadn't won a trophy for 25 years, 26 years. First thing that he did and is said is, we're going to knock Liverpool off their perch. I don't need to fill in the words. You know what he said. We're going to knock them off their perch. And he did. And he came into Manchester United with seven English titles to our name and left with 20. With 20, won 13 Premier League titles. And I saw somebody this week talking about Fergie's overrated because he was winning the league when the Prem wasn't strong, and he was winning the league when teams were smoking and all this type of stuff. So how do we explain him doing a three-peat in the era where people would deem was the strongest for the Premier League? What do we explain about that? Some people are saying if Fergie was managing in today's day and age, he wouldn't be able to hack it. And I'm thinking, how could you say that? Because as I've mentioned, when I look at Jurgen Klopp, I literally look at him as a baby Alex Ferguson in the way he manages, in the way he tries to divert media attention. When I saw him arguing with that BT presenter, as an opposing fan, I'm like, oh man, what a prick. But as a Liverpool fan, I'll be looking at it and be like, listen, that is what I want to see from my manager, because that's what Alex Ferguson would do. Ferguson, when Man United lose matches, Ferguson will talk about the lino, he'll talk about the ref, Ferguson will talk about this, we'll talk about the fixtures, Ferguson will talk about, and he'll talk about the ball boy. Once upon a time, Ferguson, we were losing 2-0 at halftime. Ferguson made everyone change kit. he was blaming the kit. We blamed the kit for why we said we couldn't see properly. We still ended up losing the match in the second half anyway. But that is a type of I see a lot of Alex Ferguson and Jurgen Klopp. I'm not saying that he's as good as him, but I do see a lot in him. So when I see people say that Ferguson wouldn't be able to handle this era, I'm thinking, but you basically got like version 2.0 absolutely dominating it at the moment. And so it kind of just makes me laugh. And I think it's a blueprint. When you just look at what what Liverpool are doing, it's very, very United-like. Got an academy boys in Trent and Curtis Jones implemented in the side. You've got attacking football. You've got wide men being the main, not the most important, but they like to attack through the wings. They do have Trent and Robbo, which is a bit different, which is like United's wide men back then. Because the game has moved on, our Beckham and Giggs is basically their Robbo and Trent. Like, it's very, very similar in the way they manage, the way they G people up, the way they even Klopp even says like he lets other people sometimes coach. He's got his coaching staff, they coach. He watches, he sees what's best, then he implements. Just like Alex Ferguson. Pep is very much hands-on. Boom, boom, I want to do this, I want to do that. Ferguson, Klopp, and a few, they kind of just like to see, evaluate, let their coaches do their work, implement what they need to implement, and it goes from there. So I gotta just give respect to what Klopp is doing. Of course, he won Manager of the Year this year, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't think he deserved to win Manager of the Year. I think Hansi Flick deserved to win Manager of the Year, but I can understand why, maybe because he was there the whole year. Flick came in mid-season, Klopp was there the whole year. They dominated from minute one to the very, very end of the Premier League season, a long Premier League season as well. Like COVID interrupted it, etc. So I can understand. I still would have given it to Flick, but I can still understand that. But that's that. You guys let me know in terms of that topic. In terms of, is Klopp better than Pep Guardiola now? Where does Jose Mourinho lie in all this? Soon I'll do a ranking of best. For me right now, Fergie's the great GOAT. It's tough between Pep and Jose because I do believe Jose's achievements are a bit more impressive than Pep's. But when Pep Guardiola wins, the difference is when Pep Guardiola wins, it feels like the best thing you've ever seen. That's the difference. Jose with Porto, Inter, that type of stuff, it's amazing. But when Pep Guardiola wins, you feel like you got no chance. Like, he doesn't just win. He breaks record and breaks goals and most points and best side you've ever seen. And so it's so hard to... It really depends on what you like. Do you like pure dominance or do you like the underdog story? Do you like... It's very, very hard to separate Jose and Pep. I don't know. Production, what would you say? Pep or Jose?
At the moment...
Of all time?
Of all time?
All time.
I can't. I have time to think.
You have to think about it. I need to come with stats and facts. So, guys, you guys let me know.
The only thing about Pep, why I might lean to Pep now, because he's not really had a down period till now. Like, because Jose was around before him, he had his down period, now he's coming back up. But Pep now, he's going on the downward. So I feel like in 5 years' time, it will be way clearer. Yeah.
But the only thing is, in terms of that, is when we talk about Jose's achievements, we only talk about, when we're talking about Inter Milan, how often do people talk about he won the Serie A back to back? We don't really talk about that because it's a formality to win this. Jose is going to win the Serie A with Inter Milan. We talk about the Champions League.
He brought them back.
Yeah, he definitely brought them back, but it doesn't surprise you.
League with them.
Exactly. It doesn't surprise you that he won with Inter in Italy, the league. But the Champions League...
He got a treble.
The Champions League is what really... Yeah, I mean, you say treble because of the Champions League, of course. That is what really makes you say, wow, his Inter spell is incredible. So that's the only bit of black mark when I look at Pep. It's like, those titles in Germany, of course you were going to win it, man. Like, of course, if Jose won 3 Serie A's in a row, I don't think people will put much clout on that.
Pep gave us the greatest team ever.
This is what I'm trying to say. When Pep wins, it's fake. when Pep wins, it's like incredible. So it's so hard to separate the two. The only thing people probably lean on is Jose's been sacked 3 times. Yeah, 3 times. Jose's been sacked 3 times. Pep obviously has never been sacked. 4 times. Oh, was Real Madrid a sacking? 3 or 4 times anyway. So when you look at that, that's crazy to get sacked 4 times. You know what I'm trying to say? Klopp's never been sacked. Pep's never been sacked. Fergie obviously was never sacked. I don't even think Ancelotti's been sacked. Oh, he got sacked to Chelsea. No, you guys, Chelsea are just... Yeah, he got sacked to Chelsea. But yeah, so when you look at it, 4 sackings for a manager, that is kind of crazy. But I still have Fergie as the GOAT. But when does Klopp become in these conversations? What does Klopp have to do to enter the conversations of Fergie, Pep, and Jose Mourinho for you guys? I still think that he's probably still behind Ancelotti's. And I don't think Ancelotti's league record is that great. I think he won 1 league with AC Milan. He won 1 league. I think he won 1 league with AC Milan. And that team was incredible. How can you not win a league with Kaká, Seedorf? I can go through the names. It looks like one of the greatest teams of all time on paper. And only won 1 league. For me, that's always going to be a black mark, in my opinion. Always. But then they won 2 Champions Leagues. Didn't win the league. No. Oh, yeah. Didn't win the league with Real Madrid. So everyone's got black marks to their name. Some people are going to say, why has Ferguson only won two Champions Leagues? Which I could agree with. We could have won more. Man United could have won more. But I think the reason why I have Fergie as the GOAT, just to narrow it down, is because I think when you stay at one football club and constantly have to rebuild, constantly have to change behaviors, constantly have to get this person out, bring this person in, see when this person's over the hill, move them on. I think staying at one club and dominating that way is more impressive for me than when a manager moves around and goes to one club 3 years, spends bare money, changes something, wins, leaves. Staying at one club and remaining consistent, people respecting you. Some of them players had to respect and listen to Fergie their whole career. Scholes, Giggs, Gary Neville, they were playing under him from minute 1. He was bringing them in when he was going to watch them as kids for them to become some of his greatest ever players. I think people sleep on that kind of side of management. I think so many people just think about managers and think, how much have they won? How much have they done? How much is it? But when you look at what Ferguson done, the guy knocked on Ryan Giggs' door at 14 years old or 13 years old and said, listen, here's your contract. You're going to be a Manchester United player. For that player to go on to be the record appearance holder in the Premier League of all time, most titles of all time. Guys, you got to really take in what the guy done at one single club. One single club. He made a promise. We talk about Jose Mourinho's special one speech. Different. Probably the best, most box office moment in Prem history in an interview. But Ferguson came in with Man United at 7 titles and said, we're going to knock Liverpool off their fucking perch. And he left with Liverpool off their perch. I mean, come on. We had 7 titles. Liverpool had 19. He left with 20 and 19. Wait, what was it? They had 18. We came in 7 titles. Liverpool had 18. He left with 20. Liverpool still had 18. Bro, hey, come on, guys. You gotta take that in. It's ridiculous. But anyway, let me move on from there. Just wrap this up. There was the FIFA Best award thing, and for me, how did Neuer win Goalkeeper of the Year, but he wasn't in the Team of the Year? The FIFA Best, they need to find a way. First of all, please, can we stop having fans vote? Marco Bielsa, I don't know what Leeds did to get him in there, but can we stop getting fans to... In my opinion, fan votes are silly. Fan votes manipulate things, and maybe that's why Klopp won it, because I know how Liverpool fans successfully voted Jordan Henderson as the front cover of FIFA. You can't beat them, guys. You can't beat them, guys. Jordan Henderson was once the front cover of my football game with Messi. Like, bro, you can't beat this. You can't beat these Liverpool guys. So I think they need to find a way of... I think they even need to kind of put more clout on being the midfielder of the year, attacker of the year, defender of the year, whatever. And in a way, I'm thinking maybe they need to scrap the Ballon d'Or. I've been thinking about it for a while. Maybe they need to scrap the Ballon d'Or. I think the Ballon d'Or sounds a bit crazy, but I think Messi and Ronaldo have kind of broken how the Ballon d'Or should be. We now look at it as numbers. And when you look before them,
and trophy,
when you look before them, Ronaldinho winning it, Zidane winning it, Nedved winning it, Figo winning it. These guys were just great football players. Beckham came second, Lampard came second, Gerrard came third one time. These guys were just great football players. Week in, week out, you look at them, you have to watch them to be like, yeah, I appreciate this guy. Now, it's just kind of like, who's the top goal scorer for the team that won the Champions League? Oh, Lewandowski, Ballon d'Or. Oh, who's the... I think that's just how it is now. Like, I really think that we need to just put more clout on who's the attacker. Was Lewandowski the best striker in the world? Yes, he was. Here's the trophy for being the best in the world. There needs to be more clout on that. Midfielder of the year. Was it KDB, Kimmich, Thiago, whoever? Let them battle out for that position. Or just, because even if you do attacker, then that means if who's the best attacker in the world, that means Mane can win it, or name that they're all battling for that attacker of the year. Midfielder of the year, KDB, Kimmich, all these, they're battling for that. Defender, it could be right back, left back, it could be anyone. I think if we make it like that, then it's a bit more understandable. Okay, the top goal scorer of the Champions League winning team, okay, you're the attacker of the year. Doesn't mean that you were the best player in the world. I'm not taking anything away from Lewandowski, but I think that's just the way things are going to go. I think it's just going to be about who can put down the most stats. That's going to be the Ballon d'Or winner. And we'll see. Modric won it. And when Modric won it, I don't think Modric deserved to win it. I can't lie, but he was fantastic that season. But are we going to get more winners like that? Who knows? Because when you look at it this season, who would you say is a front runner for the Ballon d'Or this season? I was seeing people talk about Harry Kane should be like up there this season. It's like, because he's putting up bare numbers. That's what it really is, just the numbers. But maybe that's just the way the game's going. But guys, anyway, I've been talking for ages. Listen, this is another episode of Don't Shoot the Messenger, and that was episode 10. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you share, and I'll be back for episode 11 next week. If you guys are watching this, this will be released before Christmas, right? So Merry Christmas to everyone. Lockdown's killing it, top tier 4, but if you're gonna go with your family, if you're gonna be with your family, go chill with your family, man. Listen, who the fuck is listening to Matt Hancock, mate? And who is listening to Boris Johnson after they put us in this mess anyway? So if you're gonna be with your family, enjoy with your family. If your grandma wants to come see you, or you want to see your grandma, go and see her. Everyone just enjoy your time and have a good Christmas. And I will be back probably after Boxing Day. So that's me, and I'm out. See black, they start